So we want to, first of all, just thank you guys so much
Yes.
for being here with us.
Okay.
We're just going to start out just so everybody knows, tell us your names and just how long you've been a part of Open Door Church.
My name is Kathy Toohey.
Thank
I'm
you, sir.
John Tui.
We have been at Open Door Church from the beginning, which is 33 years. It seems like a really long time.
Yeah.
I'm Beth Wright, and I've been at Open Door for 31 years. How long you been there?
Oh, I've been there almost 20 years.
20 years.
I started there January 2004. So the next year I'll be there 20 years.
Chad Burnett.
Vicki Burnett. And
there.
since March 2021, but
In
we
person.
started in person, but we started watching online and began even tithing when we were still in New Jersey. November 2020.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm Linda Elliott. This is Kevin, my husband, and we've been with Open Doors pretty much since the second year.
All right. Marshall and Jade Berry. We've been there for 5 years, August 2019, roughly.
I'm John. This is Shannon. I guess she should have said that. Maybe we can cut that. I'm John. I've been at Open Door about 12 years.
I'm Shannon. I've been there since 1997, I believe.
Keith and Lacey Yates, and he's been longer. So
You want me to start?
yeah,
I,
you might as well start.
I realize I've been here 3 times now. So once when I was a teenager, 19 I think I was when I first came. I just saw a poster of camp meeting and it said Mark Pfeiffer, but there was an F in the name, and I was like, is it Pfeiffer? Is it Pfeiffer? So my first memory of Pastor Mark is trying very diligently to understand how to pronounce his name.
I was going to Grace Chapel in Westerville every Sunday, and on Wednesdays I was going there. I was down in the basement is where we used to have our little Sunday school, and this is how I come to Open Door. I came up the stairs and I stopped in the sanctuary there, and the Lord spoke to me just as plain like I'm talking to you. He says, I want you to go to Open Door. I'd already visited Open Door and I liked it. And so I shook my head like this because I didn't know if that was in, but he said it again. He said, I want you to go to Open Door to be with your family.
So when we moved back to Ohio, we went back to the home church because that's where all my family went. And we were expected to be there. And we were. We both taught Sunday school, did all the stuff, but we both felt like something was missing. And Tobin Wallingford said, hey, I know this pastor. He might come down and do a Bible study. You guys interested? And we're like, yeah, sure, it'll be nice. So that's kind of how it started.
It was Kathy and I, Tobin and Vonnie, and Tobin's mom, Sally.
Sally.
And then
So
Pastor
you're
Mark.
five.
That was the
It
first 5.
five and
That was the first
couple,
5.
3 kids.
We'd been married a year, and Mark was looking for someone to lead worship for the church, and he contacted me and said someone gave him our names to lead worship. So we did. We led worship for the revival service that kicked off Open Door Church. Finally, we found ourselves going more and more to Open Door. The teaching was so good, just fresh, and so then we prayed and felt like God was leading us, and so that's when we joined up.
Awesome.
I know Mark went on the men's retreat one time, and actually I shouldn't tell.
Go ahead. You can tell it.
I'm right there with one thing because there's a story.
It was summertime and we were so hot, and so she had a kiddie pool in the backyard. So these 2 big pregnant women are just sitting in this pool trying to cool off. I thought, oh.
Was it in the backyard?
It was in the back.
Okay.
There were many times that, Nikki would be in the nursery with the baby, and so would I. And it's just we've raised our babies together. Now we're raising grandkids together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Early 2008,
Yes.
I finally got my head straight and said, I got to marry this girl. I concocted a thing with Pastor Mark where we would join the church at the same time. But at the same time, as everybody was walking off stage, I would propose. Yeah, so Mark and I worked together. And sure enough, as everybody was walking off, he did this thing like, Keith, by the way, what's going on anyway? What are you going to do? And so walked up and proposed in front of 300 or 400 of our closest friends.
Well, we had come for his stepfather's funeral, Tony Hummel, and Pastor Mark had done the eulogy. And I said, who is this pastor? And of course, we were there for the weekend. So we went to Sunday service, and it was during the pandemic. Our church wasn't meeting, so we were watching online anyway.
Yeah.
And we were like, we have to see. Like, we were so drawn to Pastor Mark's preaching, and he was preaching on having an eternal perspective.
So he had
Everything
that
you
rope
do. And yeah, I
the
keep doing
sanctuary.
this because there was no one in the sanctuary, and he had tied a rope from the stage to the balcony.
Talking
And
about sowing seeds in heaven, your treasure in heaven.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I've been wanting.
So what was it then? Why did you just decide it's Open Door at that point?
Well, like for me, we came from a very strong, well-led church and stuff, and a great teacher. And Mark was very sound with his teaching, very knowledgeable, and for me, that was big.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to find churches where you can see the word and spirit in action together. And I think Open Door is very much like you can see the Holy Spirit moving, but you also know that it's doctrinally sound and the theology's on point. And like he said, Pastor Mark is an amazing teacher. So you just kind of, that no matter what he's teaching, he has studied it. It's come from, he's been in his secret place with the Lord.
He's just a man, but he lives what he preaches. He's not in it for the praise. He's not in it for the attention. He's truly in it to teach us and to shepherd us in our walk so that we can make it heaven.
And each season that it is, it's right where the Holy Spirit is.
Mhm.
And I feel like that they are attuned to the Spirit. And even if something's going well and they feel a change, they do it.
And so with Pastor Mark, it was like he brought me to a place in the Lord where my foundation had been built and the walls had went up. Then the whole picture came into being since I've been at Open Door. And I just, to me, and I don't just say this flippantly, but he is one of the best teachers
Absolutely.
that I've ever sat under. And I've sat under quite a few well-known teachers, but no one compares to him. And I just appreciate him. I appreciate our body and what we stand for. And that's what's kept me there, is his character, because he's who he is. Jesus is in our pastors. And they let that shine through. And it's just the character and the integrity of the body.
Yeah.
And so that's what I appreciate. And that's part of what has kept me there.
He was away at a conference, and he called me while the house was on fire. And I remember that. I remember him calling and just offering whatever. He said it like, oh, whatever. And I'm like, okay, this isn't a job he passed off to someone else. They check on them, make sure they're okay, And there was a piece about when he said, whatever we could do for you. I knew that.
Nikki texted me. She said, what can I do? What can we do? And I obviously didn't know what we could do, but I'll never forget it because, our church is big. And of course, I had some conversations with Nikki and, but I'm not from here. Like, we don't have history. And so to have her text me And obviously, she got my number. That's the thing. Like, we had never texted before.
Yeah.
Just to text me, like, what can I do? Do you need a place to stay? Like, whatever you need, we're here. I was just blown away by that.
Same thing, honestly, family has kept us there. Pastor Mark and Nikki's dedication, you know, they're dedicated to the Lord. They're dedicated to each other. They're dedicated to their family. And they're dedicated to all of us.
Yes.
It's like, you know, no matter what, you know that they'll be there for you. If we need to call and say, hey, please pray for me. Yeah. I mean, they've dedicated our kids. They married 3 of our kids. And the other one, they were at their wedding.
Yeah.
You know, so and they did funerals for family members, our family members. So it's just, they're so involved in our lives. And it's not like oh, hey, let's hang out at each other's house type thing, you know, every night. That's not what that's about. It's about just knowing that if we need them, they're there. And if they need us, some of us, we'll be there. And it's just that family connection.
If I could find like a word that is always present, it's just love. They look at you with love.